Let's go ahead and take a look at our tour data again. I'm going to jump to it. We have our tour name already set, and it looks like we need 4 other inputs. These will align with fields in our content type. So we need a tour location, a tour type, dates, and a tour guide. Let's go ahead and begin with tour location. I'm going to jump back to the browser, and I'm going to go to structure again, and we're going to go to edit our content type and click on content types. And we're going to go ahead and manage the fields for our tour content type again by clicking manage fields here. And now we want to add a new field. So let's go ahead and add a label to it, location. The name here is similar to machine names that you've seen in the past. They should have underscores and use all lowercase letters. We'll go ahead and just type in location in all lowercase. We can select a field type here. As you can see, we have a number of options. We have ones for adding numbers, files, images, lists, and text. And what we want is simply one text field, just a single line. So we're going to go ahead and select text. In the widget options here, we only have one option, which makes our choices simple. Let's go ahead and click Save in order to complete the adding of this field. We have our first set of settings for this field. Now, the idea behind this splitting up of these settings into 2 parts, and you'll notice we'll fill out this form and then there will be another form after this, is that there are actually 2 types of settings for a field. The reason there's 2 types is because fields can be reused in other contexts. So 2 different content types can use the same field. And this first batch of settings has to do with the settings that apply to the field wherever it's used. And then the second batch applies to the particular instance of the field that we're using. More specifically, these settings that you see on this first step apply to the data portion of this field as it applies to all of the instances of it. So this maximum length will impact how this data gets saved in the database, and it can't be changed later after we've added content to field types that use this field. If that sounds confusing, don't worry. We'll come back to that concept later, and you'll see it in action. But for now, we'll go ahead and leave this at the default, maximum length, 255. I'll go ahead and click Save Field Settings. And now we have our second batch of settings. We have the label for the field, which we've already chosen. We can set it to be required. Let's go ahead and leave that blank for now. We can change the size of the field. Again, we can select text processing. And the reason I'm glossing over these is because we took a look at these options before when we were editing a field. We'll leave the help text blank for now. We'll leave the default value blank. And then we have our field settings again. You see the maximum length listed here. And then we have another one, number of values. And this input we can change later on, and so it shows up here even though this setting applies to all instances of this field. But because we can change it later, it will show up here and not in that first settings form that we saw right before this one. Okay, let's go ahead and click Save Settings and save this input. And we now have our field listed here along with the other fields. And if we went to the Add Content form for a tour content type, we'd see our location field listed there.